During our graduation trip, I got into an accident and lost my left leg. But here's the crazy part. The prettiest girl in school, the one I've been crushing on forever, actually proposed to me. We were married for 30 years. We got along fine, always polite and respectful. But on my deathbed, I found out something that shattered me. All 199 love letters I'd written her tossed in a junk pile. Meanwhile, she kept someone else's letters locked in a safe. When I was dying in the hospital, barely holding on, she finally came to see me. The last words I heard before everything went dark were, "Next time, don't save me." That's when it hit me. She would have rather died than end up with me. Then I woke up back before the graduation trip ever happened. I made up my mind I wouldn't bother her anymore. No contact, nothing. But the accident happened again. This time she jumped in front of me. She said, "This time, let me save you." Everything was hazy. Could hear people talking around me. Someone nudged my arm. "Allison." "Hey, Allison. Come on. We're all waiting on you." I blinked, totally confused. When I looked around, I saw my old friends. But they looked like teenagers again. The 7 of us were super tight in high school. On our graduation trip, things went horribly wrong. My best friend, Theodore, died and I ended up disabled. The memory was too painful. Eventually, we all just drifted apart. So how about Trapeze Cavern for the trip? Anyone got a problem with that? I didn't answer. So Theodore, sitting next to me, slapped me on the back. Seeing him alive again, I was shocked and honestly kind of emotional. I really was back to before everything fell apart. Yo, Allison. What's up with you? You that hyped? Because Evelyn is coming with us. Chill out, man. Hearing her name again stopped me cold. In my past life, Evelina randomly said she wanted to join us with some friends. But her friends bailed, so she came alone the first night. The hotel we booked got taken over by some tour group. Us guys figured we just crash at an internet cafe. Since we had a girl with us. We found a motel instead. That night, an earthquake hit. The old building collapsed. I saw a rock about to crush Evelina and shoved her out of the way. A lamprey fell on me instead. By the time rescuers got me out, my left leg was done. They had to amputate. Theodore died that night, too. Trying to save people. After that, Evelina and I ended up at the same college. She always looked out for me. At graduation, she proposed. I said yes. Our marriage wasn't exactly passionate. No fireworks, but we supported each other. It was stable, comfortable. I tried to add some romance. I wrote her letter after letter. Before I died, I found out. She'd thrown away every single one but his letters locked in a safe. And her last words to me, "Next time, don't save me." I used to think we ended up together, because of all those years side by side. But in my final moments, I realized how wrong I was. She only married me because she felt like she owed me. That guilt kept her tied to me for decades. She must have been dying to break free. Now I had a second chance. I wasn't going to drag her down again. That accident ruined too many lives. This time, I was going to change everyone's fate. We're all guys. Bringing a girl might be awkward. I wanted nothing to do with Evelyn this time. Clean break, done. But the other guys freaked out. Are you crazy? Evelyn said she's bringing other girls. We went all of high school without girlfriends. What if we meet someone on this trip? Dude, you'll have plenty of chances to date in college. This trip only happens once. Bros, before. You know. After some back and forth. They agreed. No girls meant more chances for random encounters on the road. So Evelina was out. I thought. These guys have no idea how brutal love can be. So naive, I just smiled and kept quiet. I figured with Evangelina's pride, she'd want nothing to do with us after getting rejected. But nope. She called me directly. Let's make a bet. If you lose, you have to let me come on the trip. I frowned. I really didn't want anything to do with her. When I didn't respond, she laughed. What? Scared? You'll lose. Fine. You pick the challenge. Just don't cry when you lose. You're the one who's gonna cry. The next day, she told me to meet her at the mall. Evelina was already waiting. Just as beautiful as I remembered. Elegant, stunning. People walking by couldn't help but stare. Then I noticed a poster nearby. Couples kissing contest. I froze. The rules were simple. The couple who kissed the longest wins. Couple. Since when were we a couple? But Evelina walked right in like it was nothing. I already signed us up. Make it to the top 3 and you win. Wait, shouldn't we be competing against each other? We are. I got to pick the challenge, remember? Clever. She was exploiting the loophole. Probably hoping I'd back out. But honestly, a few minutes of kissing seemed way less painful than 10 days of traveling together. Besides, we were married for 30 years. I was used to kissing her. We stood face to face, eyes locked. I'd looked at that face for over 3 decades. She really was gorgeous. At 19. Her skin was soft, her eyes clear and bright. Mesmerizing. But I knew the real Evelina. Cold as ice inside. No matter how pretty she was, I wasn't falling for it. Again. The contest started. I didn't move. Evelina grabbed my collar and kissed me. The second our lips touched, a sweet taste hit me. I shivered. She was aggressive, prying my lips apart. Her tongue teasing mine. I was caught off guard and almost pulled back. But her fingers brushed my earlobe, sending a tingle down my spine. Hard to resist. In the split second we broke for air. I caught the look in her eyes. Playful, confident. Memories flooded back. Evelina was the top student. The school beauty. Guys lined up to give her love letters. I was one of them. I used to show off on the basketball court whenever she walked by. But she rejected everyone. She seemed more interested in guys who didn't chase her. That's when I realized. My coldness this time had triggered her competitive side. She tightened her grip on my shirt. Then I felt a sting on my lip. Bit me. I snapped back to reality. Oh, I knew what she was doing. Just another trick to make me give in. I pushed her away. Evelina stared at me, stunned. She probably never expected someone to actually reject her. I lost, I said flatly. She recovered fast and smiled. Then I'm looking forward to our trip. I turned and walked away. But I couldn't get that sweet taste off my lips. The day of the trip came. This time Evelina brought a friend. Miley Glynn from the class next door. Miley was cute, sweet and quiet. Totally adorable. The guys rushed to help with their bags. I stood off to the side, not wanting to get involved. But Evelina pushed through the crowd and walked straight up to me. Allison, can you carry my suitcase? Everyone turned to glare at me. Pure jealousy, like they wanted to rip me apart. In my past life, I was one of those guys fighting to carry her stuff. Not anymore. I just wanted distance. Trip just started and you already need help. If you're that weak, maybe just go home. Evelina didn't back down. Theodore's helping Miley with hers. I walked over to Theodore. Grabbed Miley's suitcase and shoved it at him. She wants you to carry it. Theodore looked totally lost. Me. I didn't explain. I just grabbed Miley and headed for the station. In my past life, I never realized Theodore had a thing for Evelina. He died without knowing she liked him back. Those letters in her safe. They were from him. This time, I was going to give them a real chance. Allison, slow down. I was walking too fast. Miley was small and could barely keep up. She looked like she was about to cry. I apologized. When no one was around, she whispered, "Do you know what kind of girls Theodore likes?" Wait, Miley had a crush on Theodore. Too bad Theodore liked Evelina. I patted her shoulder sympathetically. She read my face, realized she had no shot and burst into tears. I tried to comfort her, but someone shoved me hard. Theodore stormed over furious. "Allison, did you drag her here just to make her cry? What the hell is wrong with you?" He completely forgot Evelina was standing right there. I winced, showing concern for another girl in front of her. Bad move. Evelina's eyes were full of hurt. But given where things stood between us, I couldn't exactly comfort her. The train started boarding. The crowd surged. I turned to get in line and Evangelina grabbed the corner of my shirt. I pulled away. Rejected again. She stood frozen, staring at her empty hand. She looked so small and alone in the crowd. For a second, my heart wavered. I knew that lonely look too well. In my past life, Evangelina always looked at me like that. Sad, eyebrows furrowed. She was never happy with me. Every year on Theodore's death anniversary, she was even more devastated than I was. She'd cook a huge meal, pour drinks, and we get wasted together. In those hazy moments, I'd hear her sobbing. Like she was mourning the man she could never be with. Through me, Evelina never needed me. I was always just a stand-in. So why should I care? I turned and walked through the gate. Can I sit with you? I'd barely sat down when I looked up and saw her again. Why does she keep following me? This is getting annoying. I glanced over and saw Theodore sitting with Miley. Got it. I stood up to switch seats with Theodore. He looked suspicious. What are you doing? Gonna bully Miley again? Miley put on her best pitiful face, too. I was forced back to my seat. A few other guys offered to switch with me. Picked Leland, the one sitting farthest away. But within minutes, Leland came back begging to switch back. Since when is sitting next to the hottest girl in school a bad thing? I was about to ask a stranger to swap, when someone grabbed my arm and yanked me away. Evelina, fuming. In my past life, she was a manager at her company, strong, decisive, strict. Her employees were terrified of her. Everyone said she made an exception for me, because she never got mad at me. But I figured it was just because we weren't close. He kept things polite, distant. No one wants to be treated like a guest by their own wife. This time, we didn't even need to pretend. After this trip we'd be strangers. I tried to shake her off, but she shoved me into the bathroom. The door slammed shut. Tiny space. Barely fit us both. Definitely not romantic. I was about to leave when I noticed Evelina, who'd been so angry a second ago, suddenly went quiet. She looked up. Her eyes were red. She was fighting back tears. Her voice trembled. Allison. So what if you've been reborn? I've thrown myself at you this time and you still treat me like this. I'm your wife. What did I do to make you hate me? Why are you avoiding me? Can't you just tell me? The train rattled beneath us, a rhythmic clatter that usually lulled me to sleep. But in that cramped bathroom, with Evelina's tear-streaked face inches from mine, I felt wider awake than I had in 2 lifetimes. You remember? I whispered, the air leaving my lungs. Evelina wiped her eyes aggressively, her composure snapping back into place like a loaded spring. Of course I remember, Allison. Did you think you were the only one who prayed for a second chance? Did you think you were the only one full of regret? Regret? I laughed, a harsh, bitter sound. You have regrets? You spent 30 years shackled to a cripple you didn't love. You kept another man's letters in your safe while you treated mine like trash. And now you're crying because I'm giving you exactly what you wanted, freedom. Evelina froze. The color drained from her face, leaving her looking like a porcelain doll on the verge of shattering. The letters, she breathed. You saw the safe. I saw everything, I said, my voice dropping to a low growl. I saw the junk pile where you tossed my 199 confessions of love. I saw the velvet box where you kept his letters. Theodore's letters. I grabbed the door handle. So don't play the victim, Evelina. I'm doing us both a favor. Go be with Theodore. He's alive. He's right there in seat 4B. Go make him happy, because God knows I couldn't. I tried to open the door, but she slammed her hand against it, holding it shut. Her eyes were blazing now, not with sadness, but with a furious intensity I'd never seen in her before. You idiot, she hissed. You colossal, blind idiot. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a worn, folded piece of paper. It looked old, but in this timeline, it shouldn't have existed yet. Then I realized, she hadn't brought it from the future. She had written it down from memory. Read it, she commanded. I don't want to read Theodore's. Read it. I snatched the paper. My hands shook as I unfolded it. I recognized the handwriting immediately. It wasn't Theodore's. It was mine. It was the 100th letter I had written her in our past life. The one I wrote on our 10th anniversary. My dearest Evelina. I am sorry that I am not the man you deserve. I am sorry that my leg holds us back from hiking the Alps like you wanted. I am sorry that I am a burden. I love you, but I know my love is a weight you carry out of obligation. I stopped reading. I looked up at her. I remember this. You threw it away. I threw it away, Evelina said, her voice trembling, because I hated it. I hated every single one of them, Allison. You didn't write me love letters. You wrote me apologies. For 30 years, you apologized for existing. You apologized for your leg. You apologized for Theodore's death. She stepped closer, poking a finger into my chest. Do you know what was in the safe? Do you know what Theodore's letters actually said? I stayed silent. Theodore never wrote me love letters, she said. He wrote me one letter. He gave it to me the night before the accident in our past life. He said he had a bad feeling. He made me promise that if anything happened to him, I would make sure you didn't give up. He told me that you were the one he admired most. I kept that letter in the safe to remind myself that I failed him, because I couldn't make you see that you were worthy of love. The train lurched. I braced myself against the sink, my mind reeling. And when I told you, don't save me. She choked on a sob. I meant, don't sacrifice your body for me again. I watched you lose your leg for me. I watched you wither away in guilt for 30 years. I would rather have died under that rock than watch you destroy yourself by inches for 3 decades. She grabbed my collar again, pulling me down until our foreheads touched. I didn't marry you out of pity, Allison. I married you because I loved you. But you never believed me. You were so busy being a martyr, you never let me be your wife. We exited the bathroom in silence. The dynamic had shifted, the ground beneath my feet unsteady. The anger that had fueled my rebirth was leaking away, replaced by a confusing cocktail of guilt and hope. When we got back to our seats, Theodore looked up, grinning. Everything okay? You guys were in there a while. Motion sickness, Evelina said sharply, sliding into the seat next to me. She laced her fingers through mine. I didn't pull away. Whatever, Theodore laughed. He turned to Miley. So, about that band you like. I watched them. In my past memories, I had painted Theodore as the tragic romantic hero pining for Evelina. But watching him now, engaged in animated conversation with Miley, I realized how much of my own insecurity I had projected onto him. He didn't look like a man in love with my wife. He looked like a teenager flirting with the cute girl from next door. We have to stop the accident, I whispered to Evelina. I know, she murmured. The earthquake happens tomorrow night. At the motel. We just won't go to the motel, I said. We'll stay at the internet cafe like the guys originally planned. The tour group, Evelina reminded me. The hotel gets overbooked. That's the trigger event. We'll find somewhere else. Anywhere else. But fate, I learned, has a nasty habit of correcting its course. When we arrived at Trapeze Cavern, the air was thick and humid. The nostalgia was suffocating. We checked into the main hotel, just like the first time. I was tense, waiting for the receptionist to tell us there was a mistake. Here are your keys, the receptionist said with a bright smile. 7 rooms, as booked. I blinked. Wait. No tour group. No double booking. No, sir. I looked at Evelina. She looked just as confused. Maybe because I'm here this time, she whispered. In the last life, I came alone later. Maybe the booking didn't get messed up because we checked in as a group. Relief washed over me. If we stayed in the sturdy, modern hotel, the earthquake would just be a rattle. No collapsing motel. No amputation. No death. We did it, I breathed. That night, the guys wanted to go out to the night market. I refused. I wasn't letting anyone out of my sight. I made up a lie about feeling ill and convinced everyone to hang out in my room, the largest suite, to play cards. Theodore was sitting on the windowsill, laughing at a joke Leland made. Evelina was next to me, her leg pressed against mine. At 11:42 p.m., the room shook. It started as a low rumble, then escalated into a violent sway. The lights flickered and died. Earthquake. Theodore yelled. Stay down. I screamed, grabbing Evelina and pulling her under the heavy oak table. Everyone, get under something solid. The building groaned, steel screaming against concrete. But it held. This was a modern structure, built to code. We were tossed around, vases shattered, plaster rained down, but the ceiling stayed up. After 2 minutes of terror, the shaking stopped. Is everyone okay? I called out in the darkness. I'm good, Leland's voice quavered. I'm okay, Miley squeaked. Theodore? I asked. Silence. Theodore. I scrambled out from under the table, using my phone's flashlight. The window where Theodore had been sitting was gone. The entire wall had sheared off. I ran to the edge. The hotel hadn't collapsed, but the facade had crumbled. Below, in the darkness of the courtyard, rubble was piled high. No, I whispered. No. The next 3 hours were a blur of sirens and dust. I was frantic, digging at the rocks with my bare hands until my fingers bled. Evelina was right beside me, hauling debris that was far too heavy for her. He can't be dead, I kept muttering. I came back. I changed it. Allison, stop, Evelina grabbed my bleeding hands. The rescuers are here. Let them work. I have to save him. He saved me last time. They found him 20 minutes later. He was alive. A decorative awning had broken his fall. He had a broken leg and a concussion, but he was breathing. As they loaded him into the ambulance, he gave me a weak, delirious thumbs up. Did I win the card game? He slurred. I collapsed onto the pavement, sobbing. I still had my left leg. Theodore was alive. The tragedy had been downgraded from a catastrophe to a bad accident. Evelina sat down next to me, resting her head on my shoulder. She was covered in dust, her expensive dress ruined. We changed it, she whispered. But the universe demanded a price. Theodore's injury meant he lost his sports scholarship. The path of his life had shifted. But as I sat in the hospital waiting room, holding Evelina's hand, I realized that we could deal with that. We could deal with anything as long as we were breathing. It was there, in the antiseptic glare of the hallway, that I asked the question that had been gnawing at me. Why the kissing contest? I asked. If you remembered everything, why did you humiliate me with that bet? Evelina let out a tired, dry laugh. Because in the last life, you never kissed me first. Not once. Even at our wedding, you hesitated. I wanted to see if I could make you lose control. I wanted to see if there was any passion in you, or if I was just destined to be your caretaker again. And you tasted like mint and fear, she smiled softly. But when you pushed me away, I realized you weren't the same Allison. You had a backbone now. We didn't get married right out of college this time. The trauma of the second earthquake, and the shared secret of our past lives, created a strange bond between us, but also a barrier. We needed to figure out who we were without the defining tragedy of my disability and her guilt. Theodore recovered. He walked with a limp for a year, but he healed. He didn't become a star athlete, but he became a physical therapist, obsessed with helping others recover. He ended up dating Miley for 3 years. It didn't last, but they remained friends. He never harbored a secret love for Evelina. I had invented that narrative to explain why I felt unworthy. As for Evelina and me, we circled each other. I finished my degree. I started a business, a logistics company, using my knowledge of future market trends. I wanted to stand on my own 2 feet, literally and metaphorically, before I claimed her. Evelina worked her way up in corporate management again. She was brilliant, terrifyingly efficient, and beautiful. Men chased her constantly. One night, 3 years after graduation, she showed up at my apartment. It was raining. "I'm tired of waiting," she said, standing in my doorway. "Waiting for what?" "For you to propose. I did it last time. I'm not doing it again." I leaned against the doorframe, crossing my arms. "I'm not the same guy, Evie. I'm not the quiet, grateful invalid you took care of." "I know," she said, stepping inside and kicking the door shut behind her. "You're arrogant, stubborn, and you work too much. But you're the only person who knows me. The real me. The one who remembers the smell of the dust in that collapsed motel." She walked up to me, her eyes searching mine. "I don't want to save you, Allison. I just want to love you. Is that allowed?" I didn't answer with words. I kissed her. And this time, it wasn't a tentative peck. It was a claiming. It was 30 years of missed opportunities and unspoken desires pouring into a single moment. 5 years later. We were moving into a new house. I was carrying a box of books into the study when I saw it. The safe. It was the same model she had in the previous life. Seeing it gave me a cold shiver. "Open it," Evelina said from the doorway. She was holding our 2-year-old daughter on her hip. "I don't want to see what's in there." "Open it, Allison." I dialed in the combination. I still remembered it. July 15, 95, the day of the earthquake. The door swung open. Inside, there was a stack of letters. My heart hammered. Had she done it again? Was she keeping secrets? I pulled them out. They were my letters. The new ones. Every note I had left on the fridge. Every birthday card. Every scribbled apology for working late. Every long, rambling email I sent her when I was on business trips. And at the bottom of the stack, there was a single, yellowed envelope. The letter from Theodore from the past life. I looked at her. "I kept it," she said softly. "To remind me that we beat fate. And to remind me that I don't need a promise to a dead friend to keep me by your side. I'm here because I want to be." I picked up the yellowed envelope and walked over to the fireplace. "What are you doing?" she asked. "Theodore is coming over for a barbecue on Sunday," I said, striking a match. "He's bringing his new fiancée. He's happy. He's alive." I held the flame to the corner of the old letter. "We don't need ghosts anymore." We watched the paper burn, the ashes curling and floating up the chimney. The last link to the timeline of pain and silence turned to dust. I walked back to her, taking our daughter into my arms and pulling Evelina close. "I love you," I said. "And I'm not sorry." Evelina smiled, radiant and free. Finally. The hospital room was quiet. The machines beeped in a steady rhythm. I was old now. My heart was failing, not because of an accident, but simply because life runs its course. Evelina sat by my bedside. Her hair was silver, her face lined with the beautiful map of our life together. She held my hand, her grip as strong as it had been that day in the train bathroom. "You're not going to tell me not to save you this time, are you?" I rasped, my voice weak. She squeezed my hand. "No. I'm going to tell you to wait for me." "I will." "And Allison?" "Yeah." She reached into her bag and pulled out a bundle. It was thick, tied with a ribbon. Hundreds of letters. "You wrote me 5,000 letters this time," she said. "I kept every single one. Even the grocery lists." I smiled, my eyes heavy. "That's a lot of junk." It's my treasure, she whispered, kissing my forehead. The darkness began to creep in at the edges of my vision. But this time, it wasn't cold. It wasn't lonely. It was warm. I wasn't leaving behind a wife shackled by guilt. I was leaving behind a woman who had been loved, truly and completely. See you soon, Evie, I whispered. See you soon, my love. And when I closed my eyes, I didn't wake up on a bus before graduation. I just drifted into peace, knowing that this time, we got it right.